Hello, lovely people, and welcome back to a new video. My name is Evelin Barta, and thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Those of you that are new to my channel, welcome to my channel. Those of you that have been already here, welcome back. And thank you, everybody who has subscribed to my other channel as well, where I'm sharing tarot readings. So that is called Esoterica with Evelin. In today's video, there are a few things that I would like to talk about, or at least touch upon. I will see how long this recording will be, how it will go, because I don't want to make this video super long. But I want to talk about the false light, and then also what soulless people are, soulless beings, or background people, backdrop people as well. We are hearing more and more this term in the New Age community, and I want to talk about what those are. And I also want to talk about our paradigm and what humanity is going through at the moment in general, and what this paradigm shift is about, and things that I have observed in the past few days, past few weeks. So there have been a few things that were very interesting for me to experience and to observe. And one of them is in regards to my new channel as well, because as you know, I started this channel where I do readings. And I did a reading about King Charles and his reign. And I received actually quite a few comments on that video. And it was very interesting to see people's opinion about this whole situation of the monarchy, this new king as well, king. And there was a different audience to what I normally have. And yeah, the amount of people that were commenting and were defending him, it was very interesting to see. So you all know my opinion, because I already talked about that, my opinion about monarchy in general and the exploitation of humanity in general, the exploitation of the human consciousness as well. We can also talk about that, because we know that this whole thing goes beyond the physical reality. And we know that these people that are in leadership position, and we can talk about the shadow governments, the deep state, they are using occult knowledge, occult and esoteric practices to manipulate and change and to lord over the human consciousness. So this is a spiritual war, we can say. This is a spiritual battle that we are facing at the moment with this paradigm shift, because those that are in power don't want to leave. Those that are in power want to continue to lord over humanity, because they do believe that they are superior to our race. And the human race is an inferior race, is a very primitive race as well. So the monarchy itself and the institution of monarchy is an embodiment of that mindset of the exploitation of humanity. And after making that video and seeing that what people are commenting on that video and defending these monarchs, these families, made me realize that we are living times when humanity is still in this gaslighting itself process, and a little bit like reality blindness, like not being able to see beyond our reality. So we are still living those times, and that is very typical for these times when we are making a transition from the Iron Age or Kali Yuga or the Age of Pisces into the Age of Aquarius. So we are in this transitional period, and we are experiencing a consciousness shift as well. And whenever we are making a transition from one epoch to the other, there's always a crossroads that humanity is facing. There's always this choice, this decision that we need to make. And we have tremendous amount of help. And there's a lot of connection to higher beings, but then lower beings as well. So the beings of the astral realm as well, which I will be talking about a little bit later. So what is typical for this transitional period is that the human consciousness going through a shift is either starting to take responsibility for itself, or is choosing not to take responsibility for itself. So what is normally happening at this transitional period is that the consciousness starts to shift. And that means that as we are tapping into higher levels of consciousness, the ego is starting to lose power. It is starting to fade away, and because the integration of the darkness and the light happens as well, the ego does not have that driver position. So it is starting to lose identity. So that is what is happening when we are going through an ascension process. But there's also a descension process, and a part of humanity and a huge group of people is going through a descension process, because that is typical for every transitional period, every end of an era, an end of an epoch. So the consciousness starts behaving differently. So it is either starting to take more responsibility for itself, and that is what the ascension process is about, that it gets more authority, the consciousness, and sovereignty as well. So it is operating from this place of sovereignty and freedom, or it is not wanting to take responsibility for itself. So it is either being stuck in that position of not taking responsibility, which is the old paradigm, which is the age of Pisces, because that was the age of Pisces about, not taking responsibility for my own consciousness, but rather adopting the beliefs of other people and the teachings of other people. So it was about believing in an authority figure, in a leader, in a guru, in a belief system of another. But Aquarius is about freedom, is about sovereignty. And sovereignty and freedom is about self-empowerment, and that comes with authority. I'm the authority of my own life, and I'm the one that is dictating the rhythm. I'm the one that is able to create my own reality. I don't need another guru. I am my own guru. So there are these individuals now that don't want to get into this new paradigm, and they are stuck in the old one, and their consciousness does not want to take responsibility for itself. And they are groups of people, there's a large amount of people now that it's not only stuck in the old paradigm and in the old reality, but it's getting actually lower and lower in density, and they are getting denser and denser, and they are getting into this fear-based energy more and more, and they are taking, as a result, less and less responsibility, and they are losing their authority altogether in that process. And I'm saying that without trying to put people into different boxes or categories, but this is what is going on with our collective consciousness. This is what I noticed. And those that are stuck in the old paradigm, and those that are actually getting into this degenerate path, which is very much synthetic and very much transhumanist, with this overly intellectual and scientifically materialistic mindset, they are very prone to gaslight themselves, and then also to be gaslighted by others. So this old paradigm was about a lot of gaslighting, and that is a result of trauma. So the gaslighting is being manifested in different forms at the moment, but one of them is that we are having this Stockholm syndrome, and defending those that are actually the perpetrators, defending those that are actually the victimizers, that are the abusers. So defending the abusers of humanity, because this is all that we know. We are so used to unhealthy patterns and toxic patterns and trauma that we don't even notice who the perpetrators are. So people don't want to acknowledge toxicity. They don't want to acknowledge that they are being exploited. They are being manipulated by those that they look up to. They still put these people on a pedestal, and they are putting toxicity on a pedestal as well. And this is what is going on a large scale, on a global level, when it comes to our leaders. This is the perfect game of the victim perpetrator, and this is what is going on in those people's lives as well on a micro level. So what we need to acknowledge, and what many of us acknowledging at the moment, and this is what healing is about, this is what inner child, shadow work, and trauma healing is about, to understand that what is bonding us to these individuals is a trauma bond, and it is a familiarity of the trauma. It is the familiarity of the trauma that is keeping you attracted to certain groups of people, to certain individuals. And that trauma bond that is bonding us to those people has nothing to do with love, has nothing to do with sovereignty, because it's based on a toxic bond. It is based on a toxic attachment, on an unhealthy attachment. So this is what is happening on a large scale, and people are in denial. So humanity is still in denial about that, and there are tremendous amount of things and gaslighting that is going on in an individual's mind. And that was my video, and certain people defending this individual was a perfect example for that. And the ego does not want to acknowledge that is being abused or is being manipulated, and therefore doesn't want to take responsibility for that. And one of these gaslighting things that is going on, or one of those things that people are saying to themselves, is that no one is perfect and nothing is perfect. And this is what I am seeing people saying about their relationships as well. If they are with a partner that is completely incompatible with them, that there's nothing that can keep together that particular relationship other than compromising, they tend to tell themselves that no relationship is perfect and no person is perfect, and we have to tolerate others, and we have to push aside sometimes part of ourselves in order to keep the peace. Yeah, no person is perfect, no relationship is perfect, but there are some basic things that are very important in a relationship, and that is compatibility. So people tend to look at their lives and to build their relationships in general, and this is what is perfectly being manifested in a large level, in a large scale as well, that instead of choosing compatibility and solutions, compatible solutions that are a win-win for everyone, we would rather compromise because we have the mindset that nothing is perfect. So this is gaslighting. This is pure gaslighting. So when we are gaslighting ourselves to this degree, we are unable to see win-win scenarios. We are unable to find compatible solutions. We are unable to find compatible people for ourselves, or compatible leaders. The idea and the definition of compatibility in the minds of many people, the majority of people, is just wrong. The majority of people don't know what is to be compatible with another person, what is to be compatible with a partner, with a group of people. And when we don't see beyond these things, then we cannot see the root issue either. And we are trying to fix problems in the old paradigm. So we are trying to bring forth new solutions in the old paradigm without being able to see beyond those paradigms, without being able to see that there's a new way as well, there's a new reality. So independent thinking is when we are able to find solutions outside of the current paradigm, outside of the reality that we are being born into. And when you are able to see other solutions outside of this particular reality, you are not blinded by this particular paradigm as the majority of people are, then you are being viewed as radical by those that are still in the old paradigm. So what I'm seeing now that is playing out on a large scale is, yes, this gaslighting, this defending of the perpetrator. And it's almost like, oh, he broke my leg, but like he just had a bad day. Like he's going through some very difficult period in his life, but he's a human. No. He broke your leg because he had a bad day. No, that is unacceptable. He broke your leg because he's a human. That is unacceptable. So if you are seeing the problem in this particular thinking, then why we cannot apply the same thing when it comes to shadow governments, when it comes to world leaders? Why we are accepting corruption as something that has always been? We are accepting corruption and we are accepting chaos and conflict and wars because this is what has always been, because this is the reality that we are being born into. Does that mean that this is normal? Does that mean that is acceptable? No. Does that mean that we have to accept it as our reality in the future as well? No. Do we have to accept destruction and these destructive individuals just because no one is perfect? No. We have to call these people out on their crimes. And it's still not happening. And I will say it over and over again because it's still not happening. We are still gaslighting ourselves. We are still finding excuses for these destructive people, for these individual soulless beings. So we have to rewire our understanding completely if we want to create a new paradigm. Because what the New Age is saying, they're constantly talking about the new earth, a new reality. Yet We are letting these individuals, these dark entities, to get away with their crimes. Because many people are like, yeah, we need to elect new leaders, new politicians, we need to change the government and to replace it with another one. We need, I don't know what politician to come to save us, or this new king that might bring some changes. No. What if I told you that we don't need monarchy at all? That we don't need the banking institutions, financial institutions that we had, that we don't need politicians at all and governments at all. Can you think outside of the box? Can you think beyond these old institutions that are part of the old paradigm? Because if you're not able to think outside of these things, then you are still in the old paradigm. You will be not able to bring forth this new reality that the New Age loves to talk so much about. Your thinking is still limited by this old paradigm, by this old reality. You are unable to pass through that reality, that paradigm. And you cannot call yourself an independent thinker then. And this is what is upsetting me a lot when I see these New Age teachers, that they are so unable, some of them, to go beyond the official narrative and the mainstream narrative as well. And they call it being realistic and rooted in reality. And I'm not saying that we have to bypass everything that is going on around us, because this is the reality that we are living in. But we will not find solutions to the root problems when we are thinking in the same way that the problem was created. Because the problem was created by this very traumatized society, very traumatized inner child as well, traumatized people, these soulless individuals. And I will be talking a little bit about that as well. These soulless beings, like what we would call like the background people. This is what we would call background people, those individuals that don't have the connection with their higher self, that lost the connection with their souls. So many spiritual teachers and just New Age teachers in general, many of them really believe that certain politicians, if they come back into the office and they will be re-elected, they will bring peace to the world. They are the saviors of humanity, and they will save us from the deep state, because they are the white hats, and I don't know what groups they are part of, but they are the good guys. Many people believe that about Vladimir Putin. And it doesn't matter the collateral damage that they caused, the crimes, again, committed against humanity. It doesn't matter how many people died in this whole process of trying to save the world. Important is that the end justifies the means. So this is the mentality of, again, like a narcissistic person when someone is bypassing the collateral damage. And the same people are bypassing the fact that Trump was so pro-liquid when he was still in the office, the marketing that he was part of. And many people would gaslight themselves, saying that, yeah, but he needed to play, the game, and he didn't have any other choice. Yeah, but it doesn't matter that so many people were damaged in the whole process. It doesn't matter that he was misleading a whole population as well, and then just the other one continued. And this applies to every single leader that we have in office at the moment, because these people are damaged. We are living in a damaged society. And I think it's enough to bypass that fact. Okay, and then we cannot create a new reality unless we try to envision a completely different reality without these people, without these beloved monarchs, and without these lovely white hats, the good guys. No, thank you very much. I don't want them. And yeah, this is my take on the gaslighting that is going on right now and what I'm seeing in the world. And this deep denial, and Neptune is still retrograde at the moment. So that is also intensifying this whole thing, is making people to be more delusional about certain things that are happening. And it's very interesting to see that. And yeah, like just the comments on my video and people getting upset about me criticizing this amazing person, King Charles. Who am I to criticize this person? Well, I am who I am. And you are who you are. And yes, I do have my birthright to say no to these people, and to say no to their sick ideologies, sick policies, and their crazy, synthetic, transhumanist, completely mental reality that they are pushing so much for. And they want you desperately to opt into that. There's a desperation around that. So no, I am standing in my sovereignty and I'm saying no to that. I don't want to be part of that reality. I don't want the reality of some individuals that are disconnected from their divinity, from their soul. And an independent thinker and someone that is standing in their sovereignty, and this is what it means to align with the Christ consciousness. It means that you are able to ask questions like, if someone has created and manufactured a reality, a synthetic one for me, and I adopted that reality because this is what I was born into, I didn't know anything else. My question is, wouldn't it be possible for me to create a reality that I want? If they can do it, I cannot? Yes, absolutely I can. Yes, it is absolutely possible. And if more people than one are starting to think like me, then we can co-create together based on the collective consciousness and collective resonance. So groups of people can create the same reality, can co-create, and it's totally possible. If these individuals are having, occult knowledge and esoteric knowledge that wasn't available for us because we forgot where we came from, and they were holding that knowledge as a weapon against us, that was their only power, but those times are ending. The times of our amnesia is ending. Now we know where we came from because we are starting to remember. This is what the ascension is about, when we start to remember. And as soon as you start to remember, you start to remember your own power, so they no longer have power over you. And you start to create the reality for yourself that you really want. And you do it consciously. It's conscious creation. It's not tapping into and opting into any reality that is available because you are unable to create for yourself. It is conscious creation, your creation. So their parasitic times are ending when they are relying on the energy of other beings of the earth, because they cannot generate that for themselves. Their vampiric system, where they want to feed upon humanity and feed off the energy of humanity, is collapsing. That system is collapsing, and they are terrified of that. So what we are witnessing now is that sphere that is around the earth, which Steiner is calling the eighth sphere, or we can call it the lower astral, but the lower astral is just not necessarily is the eighth sphere, but the eighth sphere is being made of lower astral beings. So that particular sphere of this recycled energy, the energy of trauma, the trauma of humanity, is getting further and further away from the earth. And this is how this residual energy based on trauma will no longer hold back ascension. So will no longer hold us back from ascending. And this is how the earth, so the planet itself and us as well, together with it, will get elevated and elevated. So we are moving through this process based on the rhythm of the cosmos. It's like inhaling and exhaling. So it's like this rhythm of expansion and contraction, and this is what creation is being based upon. This is how the universe works. This is how our bodies work. This is how we are functioning as human beings. And it isn't happening as a result of a solar flash or the event that many people think that is again like a savior. That is not something that we are set in motion. Ascension is a process, is an inner process. There's nothing external that can give you that shortcut of the evolution of your soul and the ascension of your soul. You have to put in the work, and you have to work on your inner child and the trauma as well, and you have to transcend your own karma. There's no solar flash and event and rapture and whatever is being portrayed in the New Age community as an apocalyptic event. There's nothing like that will give you that experience. That is your inner process. The remembrance of yourself, the remembrance of your divinity, and the aligning with your higher self and heart. It's an inside-out process, not an outside-in process. It's an inside-out process. And the false light wants to convince you that there's something external that will give you that. This is what this transhumanism is about as well, that technology will give you that. And these dark beings are being terrified of this natural process of the universe, of the cosmos, and they want to do everything they can to prevent that from happening. They want to have crazy technology, and they think that they will achieve that through the crazy technology. They can never prevent ascension, because ascension is being aligned with the cosmos, and they are going against cosmos. They are going against that natural rhythm of the universe. They are inverted. And when your body is ready to receive the light codes and the blueprint, sort of, that little push from the universe that will help you with your ascension and upgrades and DNA upgrades as well, then you will receive them. But you have to be aligning to that on a frequency level. You have to be a vibrational match to those light codes. That is the only way to receive these upgrades from the cosmos. So you have to align with that natural process. You have to be ready for that vibrationally. You have to be ready to align with certain portals that are opening. So for example, as we are having now the eclipses, end of October and beginning of November, you have to align with those eclipses on a vibrational level in order to receive those upgrades. Okay, I didn't want this video to go in this particular direction. I wanted to talk about background people, but maybe in another video, and then more about the false light. But yeah, I was just going with the flow, and probably in the next video I will be talking about that. So I think I'm gonna finish this recording because it's getting a little bit too long, and I just wanted to say that thank you so much everybody who has subscribed to my other channel as well, Esoterica with Evelyn. I'm super grateful. And then also thank you so much everyone who is supporting my work either on Patreon or with your donations. I'm very grateful, and I couldn't do what I do without you. So it means a lot to me. And then also I'm open now for personal reading. So if anyone wants to book a personal reading, then you can find information down below in the description box about that. And yeah, if you want to support my work, you can do it on Patreon. Check it out. Again, thank you for being here. Take care, and I cannot wait to see you next time.